I have planned to see Flow in a cinema that night. And the whole day was devoted to planning and preparing and gathering resources for what is it that I'm here to do. And the whole day was about to be harmonious. But then a few hours before I left, a video appeared in my YouTube feed that was charged with fear. It was a warning video. And I clicked onto the channel and I saw the person behind it made their whole career and stream of income based on scaring people in a way that isn't necessarily even accurate nor helpful. And just by looking at it, without listening what they have to say, I was inflicted with fear. Fear that felt like a state of reality, fear that was supposed to connect me with what is going on the planet. Fear that was supposed to make me cancel my plans and stay at home preparing for the absolutely worst. A fear that is normalized. I've been looking at that fear for the past 5 years, just like you did, like we all do. And sometimes some of us are polluted with it, sometimes some of us are out of it, and sometimes some of us are drowned in it. I didn't like how this fear shook my nervous system. I didn't like how I felt in my body, and I didn't like where my thoughts went. But I went to the cinema anyway. I tried to shake it off and remind myself to be present. Present in the moment, present in my body, present in the room, connecting to the screen, to the reason why I was there. I was 1 out of 3 people in a room watching the film. The part where a few birds break a wing to another bird made me cry. And crying made me violently divorce the feeling of fear that possessed my body and mind, that was fighting to stay alive in the presence of my existence. That fear was grasping like a demon for every inch of my awareness. I cried for the bird. I cried for myself who can relate to the bird. But a part of me remained untouched. That part observed myself crying for the bird and for myself who can relate to it, but also has witnessed that very visceral, almost tangible, crispy even, breaking free from the fear that was imposed onto me, that I was infected by. And that breakage point felt like divorcing myself from what is normal, like losing touch with so-called reality. Seen from the space of the fear, it was pure insanity. And seen from the other side, it was liberation. It lasted for a few seconds, during which I landed in a space that was free, where I was able to take a few deep, free from any obstacles, breaths, and let tears stream down my face like they don't really matter. How I looked didn't matter, and what the people sitting behind me think about me crying didn't really matter. What mattered is freedom of breathing and the utmost highest form of beauty that came from the breaking free from the fear. The beauty that is inherent in those very few seconds and very few deep breaths. The beauty of firmly landing in the body, space around the body in present moment. That beauty cannot be captured. It cannot be staged. When this beauty occurs, there is no time to set a camera to capture it. Even if a camera would be there all along, it would only capture a part of that experience, and considering the space of the event, an observer might make a valid conclusion that my tears and my facial expressions are a reaction to the film. It wouldn't capture the complexity of the experience. It wouldn't capture the beauty of seeing beyond buying what you're not even being sold, but forcefully fed by. It is a beauty you cannot plan into your day, but it is a beauty worth of living for. You don't normally wake up and schedule to experience it. Some people do. And if they do, they get a different type of beauty. What I'm talking about is unplanned, unscheduled, unpredicted, unordered beauty that takes you by surprise. It normally happens when your world shatters, when you lose someone, or when you, for whatever reason, come face to face with the unknown of the rest of your life. And I'm talking about beauty, but what I really talk about is insanity, which I would define as divorce from the usual web of thinking, feeling, doing, or being that you share with everyone that makes the web of your life experience. Divorcing from everything and everyone that is normalized, that is approved, that is valid, safe, and consistent thread of your life energy. It reminded me of the time when I went through it in a bigger way, partly deliberately, partly driven by the force that is greater than my sense of self. It was a time when my body and my mind and my emotions and my spirit and my intuition and my every sense of me and life outside of me was like a Category 5 hurricane with multiple vortex tornadoes. Barely centered in a constant chaos. I painted a lot during that time period, but none of the paintings actually capture the beauty of deep breaths of alienations and liberations I experienced. Those breaths and those seconds are only to experience, not to capture, not to try to convey. Any attempt is a missed hit. You can only ever come close to it, just like I'm talking about it here, but you can't hold on to it. As soon as you try, it's gone. Some people say that you haven't really lived unless you have experienced sex and orgasm, or had at least one transcendental psychedelic experience, or an awakening. I would add insanity to it. While I was experiencing those deep breaths and freedom from fear, I completely related to the cat that was grasping for the solid ground amidst raising levels of water. Having those deep breaths was like the cat trying to keep its head above the water while simultaneously catching and trying to climb the ship nearby. And it was in those moments that I genuinely wished everyone can witness for themselves the beauty and freedom in breaking free from what is there to drown them down. I can totally recommend the film. But I can also totally recommend doing whatever is necessary to break free.